It's finals time, and my opponent is none other than RH, coach of the Frderick Klefkis. If you've been watching this series back when I was recording with garbage sound quality, then you would know that the last time we fought, I won. But he was only using memes because we were both guaranteed to make it to the playoffs. I've also mentioned Orange a lot during the playoffs because he played a huge role in my run back versus Glass, the semifinals opponent. And he helped me a lot with the mock battle and giving me some pointers throughout it. And for this match, Orange was actually recording live, and I can give you the link to his video in the description. And I definitely recommend you to watch the rest of his draft journey as well, since he provides very insightful and lively commentary. Now on to his draft. Since we've encountered this before, I won't go too into detail, but let's go over the main points again. Spectrier and Urshifu form a ridiculous offensive core, which I actually used last season to win. And his hazard removal is somewhat exploitable, as Palossand can kind of wall Cyclizar, and Zapdos gets a free kill if I get triggered by Defog. But uh, as you'll see, I forgot about a few things, like since this is Paldea Dex, Moltres does not have Defog. And so Glimora stands to be a major problem, because if I don't bring Muck, Toxic Debris can prevent Palossand and Samurott from doing their job. And just hazards in general might spell death for me, because I need Goodra healthy and Ursaring healthy to counter his offensive core. I wouldn't say Goodra's a counter to Spectrier, just a check, even if it's Terra Fairy, because in our last match, Goodra actually lost the 1v1 due to a meme set of Will-O-Wisp, Tail Whip, and Double Kick. But I'm confident Orange won't make his Spectrier memes this time. In fact, because of his tactical meme play in our last match, I will be going into the battle with way less info than him. I did bring some memes of my own last match, but I went into it with the 6 mons I thought were best going against him. So with that in mind, I'm gonna bring the same 6 mons for the finals. Now from our mock battle to prep me for semis, I can deduce that Orange is a pretty analytical guy. I knew going into this match with the same 6 would be a huge gamble, since Orange would probably review all of my rematches and discover that I always brought the same 6 mons, but with only like a few minor tweaks here and there. Honestly, I just can't help it. Most of the times when I go into the rematch, I won the first match convincingly, and other times it's because in the previous match I only lost because I played it wrong. So that's why I'm always bringing the same 6. So here's my team. The exact same 6 as last time. I was far from a convincing win last time, so I'll just have to accept that I'll start on the back foot right away, because Orange will be expecting this. So instead, I'll need to trust on my plays and the minor tweaks I made to the team. I did have a new theme in mind though. When I first made this draft, all the way back in the beginning, I drafted with the intent to run hyper offense. I never actually got around to doing that because I kept running emergency checks and wanted to try all the new stuff. So now, finally, I'll be running the hyper offense formula that got me to number 1 on the Sun and Moon NU ladder, and top 10 on all of Sword and Shield's lower tier ladders. This formula is a suicide lead spiker, a spin blocker, a defog punisher, preferably scarfed, and a bulky setup sweeper. So Gudra is my Spectrier check. It's able to tank 3 specs Terra Fairy Blast after lefties, and I'm running Gui to slow down Urshifu and Zarude if they touch me. I've seen Orange run Punching Glove before on Urshifu, but either way, Gui will help me scout for its item. I can't really do Shell Armor. Yeah, it's nice to power down Surging Strikes, but I already resisted. I don't need to power it down even more. So now I'm running a Curse Rest set because I need it to stay healthy for Spectrier. It can also serve as my win con, as Rest will clear up any burns I might sustain from Moltres. Being physical also helps me hit Spectrier on its frailer side, while ignoring the special defense boost from Calm Mind. So now, the difference is, last time I went with a mixed T-Bolt set, and this time I am going with Curse because there's actually lots of opportunities to set up. Yeah, T-Bolt can catch Moltres and Urshifu, but I shouldn't be fighting Urshifu with Gudra anyway. And Moltres, with Rest, I'm able to just set up on it and beat it 1v1 anyway. Unless it has Roar. And the defense EVs make sure that I'm never 2-hit KO'd by Mudsdale's Earthquake when I'm at +1. So next we have Espeon. Instead of an offensive AV set, I went with a bulky lefty set. Its main purpose is still Glimora deterrent, but the additional HP instead of special defense helps me make up for my loss of AV. Actually gives me a little better, well-rounded bulk for taking physical hits. And Psychic Spam is actually kind of good versus Orange. His only switch-ins are Zarude and Bronzong, which I have coverage to deal decent damage to. And now, Talosand. It's not weakness policy anymore, but I still have enough defense to survive the Surging Strikes. I don't have Shore Up, but will be relying on Giga Drain and my Berry for healing. Halo is really only there for blocking Rapid Spin, so I wanted more offense to not be too passive if he decides to Shed Tail away. Sludge Bomb deals with Zarude and Spectrier when it Terras, and Stealth Rock is for more hazard pressure. Actually, yeah, because in Sword and Shield's lower tier ladders, I noticed that having 2 hazard setters was the extra push I needed to break top 10. So Zapdos is my Scarfer, gives me a revenge kill option against Spectrier or Scarfer Shifu, and it's pretty standard because dual stab is all I need. Facade is nice though for accidental flame body burns. And now Samurott is my Spike lead. I will always lead with it to get off spikes as quickly as possible. I'm gonna be specially invested because Air Slash hits Urshifu way harder, and Surf does not trigger Toxic Debris. And Encore is nice filler to force a switch from his slower Stealth Rockers. And lastly, we have the mon that changed the least, Ursaring. Its gigantic defense bailed me out in that meme match. And honestly, the only thing I changed was the leftover 4 EVs. I moved it from special defense to speed. You might think, why did you need to point that out? It actually matters. Um, if Urshifu hits Gudra with surging strikes, Gui will make it at -3. And at max speed, Urshifu at -3 hits 146 speed. So now with the 4 speed EVs, instead of speed tying, I actually outspeed -3 Urshifu. That's kind of fun. But yep, standard rest talk set. Swords Dance instead of Bulk Up because my defense boosts are ignored by Surging Strikes and Darkest Lariat. Though I didn't realize Zarude also doesn't have Darkest Lariat this gen. So now, onto the match. Okay. So the game plan is to get up as much hazards as possible to limit Orange's dangerous offensive core. And he has no psychic resist, so Espeon could have a field day early game, and when everything's battered down, Gudra and Zapdos could end up cleaning for me. So turn 1, like I said, I'm always gonna lead Samurott. All I want is the spikes. I don't care that he Terra to resist my attack. I only wanted the spikes. So I didn't miss, thankfully. But I'm not gonna sack Samurott just yet. Gudra gets critted right away, but luckily it's not Specs or Life Orb. So I kind of shrug it off. It's still very painful though. So now over here, I make a pretty bad play. I clicked Body Press because I knew Spectria was not staying in. I was looking to be his win con. So he could switch into Urshifu, which was why I went for Body Press over Heavy Slam. But that read was very little reward, and I didn't even get it. So I do negative damage to the Mudsdale. And now I have to decide if he's gonna Stealth Rock, Earthquake, or Body Press. So that leaves me with the decision to go Espeon to block Stealth Rock or Palossand to stomach the attack. And I decided to go to Palossand because actually I could try do this play where I look like we're about to trade rocks, but instead of trading rocks, I will double into Espeon so that only I get rocks. So I'm going to switch into Palossand and then double to Espeon for rocks. So I get the first switch right because, yeah, of course he'd want to attack my only Spectrier check. And now I try to block Stealth Rock, but he switches to Cyclizar. Kind of an annoying situation for me. Now I have to worry about Rapid Spin or Shed Tail. And I do believe switching back to Palossand is very obvious, as I've done that consistently this season. So I decided to stay in predicting the Shed Tail and denying everything a sub. Yeah, he actually fires a knockoff, which is a clean 2-hit KO. I totally forgot about Psych's offensive prowess. Thankfully, though, my Psychic does just enough to lock him out of Shedtail. So now the choices are to predict Knock again or Spin. Spin would get Psych killed, since Espeon would live. So I decided Psych would try to Knock again, just to preserve itself. That being said, I still wanted Espeon alive because Psychic Spam looks really good here. If I can find a free turn to Future Sight, then someone will be dying right away. So I'm gonna sack Samurott here, hoping that he doesn't spin. Because if he spins, then he dies to Espeon. Thankfully, I got that play right. And now Zapdos comes in to get a free kill. Well, I was under that impression, but I should have ran some calcs because this close combat is doing nothing to the Mudsdale. So now in this next turn, I was thinking, well, Mudsdale has Body Press, Earthquake, Stealth Rock, and its last move is either Rock Slide, Heavy Slam, or Rest. And none of those options actually hurt me, except for Heavy Slam. So I decided, since you can't touch me, I'll just get some more chip damage in, so that next time Zapdos comes out, I get a free kill for sure. Because as you see, he's healing up with lefties. So even at -2, nothing should hurt me bad. But he does have Heavy Slam, the one option that hits me the hardest, which kind of a reckless play on my part. But I did calc for it at least, and I knew I would survive that. But now, sadly, I'm in Aqua Jet range, so I'm a little scared with Zapdos as my late game win con. So now I have to switch. Palossand takes everything. And now over here, for sure we could try to trade rocks again. But I decided to get greedy and make a really bad play here. I thought my Speed Prep and offensively invested Giga Drain would surprise the Mudsdale. But Orange just does the same thing and switches it out into Cyclizar. So I gain basically nothing out of that turn. And now at this point, I needed to get Stealth Rock up because that was a really bad play and I need some insurance to help me cover up for my bad plays. So I'm getting Stealth Rock up ASAP. And he shed tails out into Electros, possibly expecting the Earth power. So it starts coiling up, which could get dangerous. But thankfully, my Shadow Ball breaks the sub. And I don't really have much options for a boosted Electros, so I just need to spam Shadow Ball. And thankfully, I get the first Spadef drop. And Orange was prepared with this Electros. It has the coverage to 2-hit KO me. But thanks to that Spadef drop, it is pretty close to dying to Espeon. He actually decides to preserve it and sacks off the Mudsdale. I actually find that as a big win for me because yeah, it couldn't switch into Zapdos at all anymore, but it could still switch into Gudra and possibly farm defense boosts and heal off of me since I'm so weak to it. And now comes Cyclizar again. Now we're back to this 50-50 of will he kill me or will he spin and get himself killed. He's definitely not shed tailing, as my Psychic will just break it. He could shed tail into Glimmoro, but I have Gudra for that, so I decide to let Espeon die because I don't want him spinning anymore. So if he decides to spin, he dies, and if he kills me, that's fine, because then I have Zapdos to get another kill, and he shouldn't be able to spin anymore. So he opts to take the kill. Then Zapdos comes in. He finally lets go of Cyclizar. That's a big threat gone. Now comes Spectrier. Now, no heavy-duty boots and no leftovers raised some red flags. So, there's 4 items that it commonly runs. Well, I wouldn't think heavy-duty boots is common. But there's 4 items that I typically run on it, and it doesn't seem to have that. So there's only 2 items left I can think of. Spell Tag, or whatever item powers up fairy type moves, or Choice Scarf. Either way, locked into close combat, I'm not going to be able to kill it, so I'm going to switch into Gudra. Maybe next time it comes out, I'll be able to revenge it with Zapdos. In fact, the next time it comes out will be its last time, thanks to hazards. So, yeah, I know it looks a little bad right now. It was like 5-3 before my Zapdos killed the Psych, but this is a big turn. This is a big turn because Gudra can only take 1 more Terra Blast before dying to the next, and then at that point, it's gonna run over my team if it's Scarf. So now I need to figure out if he's gonna stay in to just get a Terra Blast off, or switch to Urshifu, predicting me to attack him. So if he were to switch, Urshifu takes nothing from my Gudra, and basically gets a free kill from here because my Ursaring hasn't Terra'd yet. And that would be game ending. But if I were to switch to Ursaring, just to take 2 Terra Blasts, that would also be game ending. So I opted to double into Ursaring, predicting that Orange would preserve his Spectrier and go for the free kill next turn. And it worked out. It actually worked out. So this kind of lights up a fire in me. Now I'm telling myself that this is winnable. And now I go for the Terra Fairy Play Rough since I take no damage from Urshifu. But I honestly forgot about U-Turn. And Glim coming in is very scary. But on the bright side, it should be in range of Zapdos CC now. There was no Toxic Debris though. So now I think it's the Subtoxic set, with its last 2 moves being Spiky Shield and Sludge Wave. So with that set in mind, I just switched to Gudra. And sure enough, it reveals Sub. So over here, I just want to break the Sub so that Zapdos can revenge it. And it reveals Earth Power. So now I could just spam Heavy Slam, but I am still under the impression that I could salvage off some heals with Earth Power. I mean with Rest. Because Earth Power isn't a 3-hit KO thanks to my leftovers. And Orange subs again. He's really insistent on getting that sub up so that he basically cleans up with Glamora. And through these rest turns, I'm noticing that one special defense drop will just end it all. Thankfully, I didn't get that. And now we're back to square one, where I die in the next hit, and he's out of a sub. So now this is another very important turn. This is another very important turn. Now, Orange can choose to KO me now and lose another Mon to Zapdos. But he tries to circumvent that with another greedy substitute. So now I decide to do a conditioning Heavy Slam. This Heavy Slam is to let him know that, yep, Gudra is ready to die. It's too low to survive anything anyway. You can just take my Gudra. And since Earth Power should be its only way to hit me, I switch into Zapdos, hoping he doesn't spam sub, and he gets the message that I'm ready to let go of Gudra. And he did. The mind game actually worked. And now Zapdos gets a kill while I get a free sack. That was another huge turn for me. This is Spectre's last turn to come out because Hazards will kill it next time. And I just let Gudra die. Now I ran some calcs and Ursaring actually lives this +1 Terra Blast into Punching Gloves Surging Strikes. So as long as I don't miss these, I should be okay. I didn't miss the first one and I didn't get crit. And sure enough, I live this one. And do I hit? Do I hit? Yes, I did. So now I feel like I'm in the clear with this. All that's left is the Electros. So I didn't know why the Urshifu didn't come in on Zapdos when I was at -1 defense. That gave me the impression that it wasn't Aqua Jet. So a Zapdos clean was possible, but the Spectre Scarf still had the ability to stop that. So now, with this mind game paid off, and the two biggest offensive threats dealt with by Ursaring, I was thinking Orange would speed creep me, but I just decided to go for a rest. But he didn't actually speed creep me, so now with my rest, I eternally wall him. He could start setting up Coil Boost, but I should be still okay because Swords Dance will out damage it, and if I'm doing Sleep Talk Play Rough, the Guts boost will also pretty much keep me strong alongside his defense boost. And there's no way he can get strong enough in time to deal like lethal damage to Ursaring. So the first rest talk, a bad poll, but that's okay. If I get another bad poll, then I would start sweating, because if at that point +2 and lefties basically means Zapdos has no chance at beating it unless I wear it down a lot. So please don't get rest again. And I get Swords Dance. So either Swords Dance or Play Rough works. From here, all I have to do is just start spamming Play Rough, because his +2 Thunder Punch can't even 2-hit KO me. And all that's needed is to not miss, and we did it. Stardust Chimps wins the finals with Ursaring as the MVP. So this was a great draft league, and props to the mods for keeping it running. I felt a sense of burnout from other players towards the back half of the season, but in the end I had a great time. Props to Orange too for giving an intense finals and a relatively clean game. This makes me a back-to-back champion in this league, actually. So my league activity right now is slowing down due to life things. But it makes me wonder if I should go for the 3-peat as my final draft league for a while. So I still have more pre-recorded Gen 9 draft leagues I want to document. So expect a lot more vids coming in the future. Don't forget to check out Orange's channel. I'll see you next time.